There we go. Looks like it's going now. Fantastic. So, yes, nice. All right. So, my friends, we are here live, episode number 2 of the Speaking Gringo podcast show. So, today we're going to be talking about how to increase your English vocabulary and make sure that you communicate effectively. Now, don't mind me because I'm looking around here, just making sure everything is set up correctly. So give me a big thumbs up if you can hear me. Should be all right, but just want to check there. Let's see. It's been a long time since I've used Zoom, and I just want to double check it here. So give me a second. Before we jump in and start talking about improving your English, increasing your English vocabulary, right? So that is our topic for the day. Now, where is my little chat box here? Let's see if we can switch this over into the studio. That way I can control things a little bit better here. All right, guess it's not going to let me do that. So I don't know. I'll have to play around with it and figure out how that works because it's been too long since I've done this. But once again, we are here on the Speaking Gringo podcast, episode number 2, and our topic for the day is improving your English by increasing your vocabulary. I think that learning vocabulary, increasing your vocabulary is one of the most important things that an English student can do to improve their English speaking skills. And why is that, you ask? Because vocabulary, the words that you use to communicate, to express yourself, are like bricks. They're the building blocks that you use to communicate. You take each individual word and you put it together with other words to form your sentences, right? And the problem is, if you don't know the right word to express yourself, it can be frustrating. Now, the trick is, right, that's a paradox. There's how it should work, the expectation, and there's how it actually works, the reality, right? The reality is you aren't going to learn English perfectly before you begin speaking. So let me just I'm still trying to work the system here to make sure that everything's okay. But all right. So you want to use those words to create your sentences so you can communicate effectively. So let's say, for example, that you want to tell someone that your grandmother has hepatitis. Okay. Now, you don't know the word for grandmother, and you don't know the word for hepatitis in your mother tongue, right? So in Portuguese, we would say, minha avó tem hepatite, right? So, but let's say you wanted to say the same thing in English, but you don't know either of those two words. Now, you do know the word mother, and you do know the word sick, so you could use the words that you do know to express yourself, all right? So you could say, my mother's mother is sick, right? It's not the exact same idea. It's a little bit different, but it gets the idea across, right? So that way people know that a person that you love is not feeling well. So the idea is use the language, the words that you do know to express yourself, but then make note of what you actually wanted to say and go learn how to say it correctly. Go learn the new words and increase your vocabulary. All right, so that is our tip for today. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to do that. I'm going to jump in and we're going to talk about some different tools that you can use. And one of my favorite tools, so make sure to stick around until the end. Here we go. I found what I was looking for. Nice. All right. So fantastic. If you're watching, you can comment and it should pop up here on my screen. So that way I can see what everyone is saying, no matter where you're watching from. If you're on YouTube, Facebook, or any of the other platforms where this is getting streamed out, we should be good. So thank you for your patience and bearing with me. So back to what we were talking about, how to improve your English by increasing your vocabulary. And I'm going to share my screen here. So that way you can see what I'm talking about. And hopefully this will make a little more sense. Here we go. All right, screen one. There we go. Boom. Now, hopefully you should be able to see my screen there. If you're listening on the podcast, I will describe it for you. So here we are looking at the page where we're hosting the podcast. This is the speakinggringo.com, Speaking Gringo with David Bailey. So we're looking at the front page of the new site that we just threw up. Like I said, we're just kind of making this up as we go. But you can come here to the Speaking Gringo site. You can see show 2 is already, we have a page for it. We did show 1 yesterday, so you can watch show 1 from yesterday where we talked about the general overview of learning English to develop all your skills. Today we're focusing on vocabulary, right? So you can scroll down here, see what we'll be talking about or what we did talk about if you're watching the recording. Some links to follow me on social media, a little blurb about who I am. I've been teaching English for 20 years. I taught English in Brazil. Now I'm living in Florida, but I still want to share my best, top secret, and little known tips and tricks to help you learn English fast, right? So that is the goal of our Speaking Gringo podcast here, just for fun. And then if you want to subscribe and join us, right, to our little newsletter, so you just type in your email here at the bottom where it says subscribe to get the latest updates. And that way, when we are going live, we're going to release a new podcast, we can let you know. I'm not going to sell your information off. I won't call you, bothering you about anything crazy. I won't try to sell you any used car warranties or nothing crazy like that. All right. So we value your information, your privacy. This is simply to give you updates about podcast, learning English, improving your English, and all that good stuff so you can follow along with us if you want. If not, just follow us on social media. You'll see when we'll be going live. My goal is to do this every weekday for about 15 minutes. Hop on here and just help you with your English skills. We'll be talking. You can join us on Zoom. So join there, put in your name, your email. You'll get updates of how you can join us here live on the Zoom calls. All right, so let's jump in. We talked about why it's important to increase your vocabulary, right? Because lack of words, lack of being able to express yourself is frustrating for a lot of students, right? So gave the example of, you want to say my grandmother has hepatitis. You don't know how to say that. You can use other words like saying my mother's mother is sick, right? And you can express yourself, but it's not the exact words that you want to use more clearly, right? Sick is general. Hepatitis is very specific. It tells people what kind of sickness she has. So the more words you have, the bigger your vocabulary, the more easily you can express yourself. So we're going to talk about how you can increase your vocabulary here today. Now, who does this help? English students at all levels, right? It doesn't matter if you're a beginning English student, if you're an intermediate student, if you're an advanced English student, you need to constantly be increasing your vocabulary. Even native speakers are always learning new words, or should be, right? Statistically, native English speakers learn an average of 50 new words a year. But how do you learn new words? When do native speakers learn new words? When they get a new job. There's new jargon, new expressions, new vocabulary regarding the kind of work they're doing. If you become a doctor, you have to learn doctor terms. If you become an engineer, you have to learn engineering terms. If you want to be an English teacher, you have to learn English words like, pedagogy and all those kind of big words that I never knew before I became an English teacher. So you learn English words by getting in a new environment, or you're learning about new things. You take a course, part of the course is learning new words. So how can you increase your English vocabulary? The number one way is through reading. All right, I'm going to pause there. I want you to think about that. Reading is how you increase your vocabulary the most. Because if you're speaking, right, you only use the words you know. If you're writing, you only use the words you already know. Now, you have to speak, you have to write to practice those skills. You learn what words you don't know, and then you go study them and you learn how to use them. But when you're reading a book, you come across new words that you don't know. So reading is one of my favorite ways for learning vocabulary. If you read a book in the dictionary, if you read a word in the dictionary, it's just a single word. You might not know how to use that in context. When you learn the word by reading, you see how that word is used. You see the context. You see in the structure where it comes in and how it interacts with the other words around it. So that's my number one tip, is just read a lot in English, and that will automatically help you learn new vocabulary. That's one of the things that I did to learn Portuguese. I mentioned it in the last podcast, was by simply taking a magazine that we had a subscription to a magazine where I worked. So every week I just, flip through it, read the articles, underline the words that I did not know. I'd read the whole magazine and go back, and a bunch of the words that I didn't know previously, I could now understand. So I underlined them because I didn't understand them. After reading several articles and seeing how that word was used in different contexts, then I would come back and I'd be like, now I understand what they're saying here. So then the words that I still didn't know, I would learn with my dictionary, right? So that's our second tip here, the tools you can use to increase your English vocabulary. So if you do a quick search on Google, there are a lot of dictionaries, right? You'll see there's the Cambridge Dictionary, there's the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, there's dictionary.com, there's Collins, there's the free dictionary. Microsoft has its own dictionary. You've got dictionary.com, we already saw that, the Oxford, the Merriam-Webster word reference. So just a whole bunch of dictionaries that you can use right online. So when you jump into a dictionary here, let me find an example here. You know what? I'm actually going to jump over to one of my favorite dictionaries because that was already on my list of things to talk about today right here, vocabulary.com. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this. This is vocabulary.com. It's a very nice tool that you can use. I use this with my English students, and I even used it myself to learn lots of new words. So you can see up here, there's an icon of this little match running. And this is me, Mr. Bailey, 5,375 points from actively using this tool. I was using it to help my students, but I also learned a lot of words because it evaluates your level and then teaches you new words. So if you don't know the word, it continues to show you those words until you learn it, until you get it right. So if you make a mistake, it'll show you that word again. So you can look up a word here. So let's just take a simple word like sick, right? We already used that one. So we can see different ways that it's used. We can add it to a list. We can share it. You can see how it's used in context here on the right-hand side. You can see a general definition. And then your standard dictionary definition, right? So we see that it is an adjective, how it's used as an adjective. We see synonyms, similar words, and where we see how it's used as an adjective. So mostly it's being used as an adjective. You see here that it's now showing us how to use this word as a noun and then as a verb. Right? So typically a dictionary will show you what part of speech it can be used at. It'll give you the definition, and then it'll give you sample sentences or contexts that you can use it in. So then it also shows you the word family, right? So lots of good stuff here on vocabulary.com. So you can use it as a dictionary, and then you can also use it to evaluate your level and play the game to learn new words. And I'm not going to go through that right now because our time is already up, but we'll come back around, circle back around and talk about this more in another one of our podcasts if you want, right? So make sure to leave me a comment, tell you what you want to learn in English, what areas you're having trouble with, what things you would like us to focus on. So if you want to know more about learning vocabulary, leave a comment, let me know. If you want to learn more about vocabulary.com, feel free to leave a comment and let me know. We can dive into this more, or we can talk about other topics that interest you. All right, so enough said about the dictionary. If we come back here, our second tool for learning English words is a thesaurus, all right? What is a thesaurus? A thesaurus is a tool like a dictionary, but it shows you other similar words. So it'll show you other synonyms. It'll show you antonyms. So synonyms are words that are similar to that word. Antonyms are words that are the opposite of that word. So we have thesaurus.com. We have the Merriam-Webster thesaurus. We've got the Collins Dictionary thesaurus. So a lot of these dictionaries already have a thesaurus built in, but we also have specific websites that are thesauruses as well, like englishthesaurus.net. So you can see there's the thesaurus.plus, there's the power thesaurus.org, etc. Let's jump in here quickly, just so you get an idea of, let's go ahead and choose that word sick. We already saw some synonyms at vocabulary.com. So you see here, it shows us the word sick. You can click the audio to hear the pronunciation. And then you see a bunch of words that are similar. So these dark orange bubbles show you that the word is very similar These other words here that aren't quite as dark orange, they're a lighter orange. That means they're similar, but not exactly similar, right? They're words that could be used depending on the context. So we've got antonyms for sick down here. So the darker ones, again, the dark gray ones are the ones that are most relevant, that most opposite mean the same as the word we're using, healthy, right? Healthy means that you're not sick. So then these words here that are light gray are words that aren't quite so similar, but they're still, general. Let's find one here. Content, satisfied, undiseased, right? Undiseased is a pretty strong antonym for sick, so I'm not sure why that is a light gray, but that's what they put. But anyways, you get the idea. So you can see other ways to use sick in a sentence. You can see other words, all right, that are synonyms or antonyms, and then other words that are synonyms and antonyms to them. So Thesaurus is a really good tool that you can use to learn other words that have the same meaning and other words that have a different meaning, just so that you can express yourself better. All right, so let's, we talked about vocabulary.com. That was next on our list. Let's talk about using a translator. Translators are ways to learn words. Now, obviously, the best way for you to learn words is implicitly through their use, because when you use a dictionary, like we said, you just learn the word and its meaning in a context or two. But when you learn how it's used through different articles that you're reading, you speak it, you use it, you internalize it, it lasts longer. But a dictionary is still a very great way to learn what words mean, right? So translations are a way that you can learn what the word means, how to use it, how to say a specific phrase. So we've got a whole bunch of different translators here. And of course, you've got Google Translate, which is one tool you can use. You can actually put the word in here, English detected, the word you want to translate it to, which would be your mother tongue. And then you put Portuguese Brazil, doente, right? So you could put the word here, your mother tongue. I can't spell right, doente, and it translates it for you into the language that you want. So we'll put English here, and you see it translates it as sick. So we could put in a phrase like, whoops, ela, I don't have accents here on my keyboard, but ela está doente, she's sick, right? Or she is sick. So a translator is a great way to learn words, what they mean, and how to use them as well. So obviously you don't want to focus solely on learning vocabulary through dictionaries and translators, because you have to practice, right? That's what we talked about yesterday. You have to take all the words that you're learning and practice them to actually learn how to use them quickly and fluently and effortlessly, because the more you use those words and internalize them, the better you will be able to communicate with others and express yourself, right? So next up, last thing here on our list is using web apps like Anki to improve your English. So I got a whole list here that I saw of digital tools that we can use, but I'm not going to jump into that right now. We can talk about this more if you want to in another episode here of our podcast. But Anki, I just want to point this out. This is a tool that it's a system that was developed for reviewing words that you're learning over time so you really internalize them. So this is an app that you can use to learn words and not forget them, because that's a big problem that students have. They learn a new word and then they forget it, right? So a lot of students would complain, hey, David, I learned this new word, but I forgot what it meant, or I forgot how to use it. So Anki is a tool that helps you review and practice those words. Vocabulary.com is very similar, and Anki is just another option that I've seen students use. So it is a way that you can review those words and master them. All right, my friends, so that is it for what I had planned for today's podcast show. Number 2, increase your English vocabulary. I hope you found this helpful. Go ahead and leave me a comment if you did. Give me some feedback. Tell me what you liked about it so I can continue doing more of this, because if you like it, we'll keep doing more of it, right? If you don't say anything, I might not try it again. I might try something else, experiment with something else. If you liked it, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know as well and tell me why, so that way I can try to improve it and make it better. Say, hey, David, you didn't give enough explanations. You didn't give us enough examples, right? That may be one example. So the next show, I'll try to improve it. I'll give you more examples and make sure that you understand clearly all the ideas that I'm trying to get across. You may say, hey, David, you're speaking too fast, or David, you're speaking too slow. We're not stupid with 2 O's, right? But just go ahead and let me know your thoughts. Let me know how we can improve the podcast show for you. I'm just checking something here real quick to make sure I didn't miss anything important, but it's not quite doing what I want. So don't mind the noise if you hear it in the background. Give me just a second. But basically, we're wrapping up. So I just want to say thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here, and feel free to give me your feedback, your comments. Let me know what you thought, how we can make this Speaking Gringo podcast show better. If you have ideas to improve it, let me know, and we will try to implement them in our future episodes. Here we go. I found what I wanted. So I'm just clicking around here. Perfect. Okay, my friends, that's it. Once again, thank you very much for watching. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you in the next episode. Like my friend Kelson used to say, how did he say it? It's like, peace out. All right, bye. Let me stop sharing here. You'll see me on the screen, my beautiful face, right? All right, y'all have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.